Welcome to How to Negotiate Your Way to Business Success. Whether you're a new founder, growing your startup, or stepping into your first role as CEO, there's one skill that will shape your future: negotiation. It's the difference between a pitch that gets funded and one that's forgotten. Negotiation isn't just about price. It's about value, influence, leadership, communication. It's rooted in psychology, and it's a game changer when done right. In this video, I'll guide you through 10 essential chapters to form how you approach deals, partnerships, and professional conversations. You'll learn how to think like a strategist, speak like a leader, and handle objections with confidence. By the end, you won't just be closing more deals, you'll be building stronger relationships, your influence, and leading with clarity. Let's dive in. Why negotiation is a core business skill. Here's something you should always remember. In business, you don't get what you deserve, you get what you negotiate. It doesn't matter how brilliant your product is. It doesn't matter how many hours you put in or how revolutionary your idea might be. You can't clearly communicate its value and confidently negotiate its worth. You risk losing the deal, the funding, or even the respect you've worked so hard to earn. Negotiation is everywhere. Every interaction, big or small, you negotiate with the clients about pricing and deliverables, partners about roles and equity, investors about terms and vision, employees about responsibilities and culture, and even with yourself about time. So here's the truth. If you want to thrive as a founder, lead as a CEO, or grow as a professional, stop treating negotiation as a soft skill. It's not. It's a power skill, the kind that directly impacts your deals and your bottom line. And the good news, it's a skill you can learn, master, and use to win over and over again. The mindset of a pro negotiator. Let's talk about mindset, because how you think shapes how you negotiate. Professional negotiators don't walk into the room thinking, how do I win? They walk in asking, Blair, how do we both win? That's called the most powerful tools a negotiator can have. Why? Because the best deals aren't battles, they're partnerships. They create long-term value, not short-term victories. Pros also don't fear rejection, and every no moves them closer to the right, yes. They stay curious, not defensive. They ask smart questions. They listen deeply. Even when the other side pushes hard, they don't get rattled because they've trained themselves to stay calm, focused. And here's something else. Pro negotiators don't bring ego to the table. They don't argue just to be right. They aim to understand, not to overpower. There's a phrase that captures this mindset perfectly. Help me understand you. Simple, clear, powerful. It shows confidence because you're leading the conversation. It shows empathy because you're acknowledging their point of view. And it shows authority because you're focused on a solution, not a standoff. That's the mindset. Preparation is power. If there's one mistake that separates amateurs from pros in negotiation, it's this: they show up unprepared. New negotiators often assume they can just wing it, rely on instinct, confidence, or charm. Professional negotiators know that most of the real work happens before the conversation even begins. Preparation isn't optional. It's where your power comes from. There are 4 things you must be crystal clear on before you step into any negotiation. 1, what exactly do you want? Not just a vague idea, a clear, specific outcome. Know your number. Know your terms. 2, their objective. What do they care about? What's most important to them? Speed, cost, reliability, reputation. you'll be negotiating in the dark. 3, your BATNA, that's your best alternative to a negotiated agreement. In simple terms, what will you do if the deal falls through? The stronger your BATNA, the more confident and flexible. 4, your walkaway point. Please, what's the line you won't cross? You need to know your boundaries. Otherwise, you risk saying yes to something that hurts you in the long run. But that's not all. Pros also come armed with proof points, data, testimonials, success stories, all ready to show the value they bring. And finally, and this is big, anticipate objections. Think about the 3 most likely concerns or pushbacks the other side will raise. Then write out your responses in advance, confident and ready. Yeah. Because when you prepare like this, you don't just show up. You show up with purpose, clarity, and control. And that's when the real negotiation begins. Opening strong first impressions matter. Negotiation doesn't start when the numbers hit the table. It starts the moment you enter the room or open the Zoom. Before you say a single word, you're already communicating. Well, your energy, your voice, they all speak louder than your actual words. That's why your first impression is critical. Don't walk in looking nervous or distracted. Don't come in aggressive, either arms crossed, voice sharp, trying to dominate the room. And definitely don't be too passive, really agreeable or apologetic. Instead, show up professional, friendly, confident, and curious. That balance sets the tone. Begin by building rapport. Comment on something genuinely positive, maybe about their company, their recent success. Then ask a warm, open-ended question like, how's your week going? Or, what's something exciting happening in your world right now? This isn't small talk, it's connection building. It lowers defenses and makes the conversation feel more human. Ease into the business side. Say something like, before we dive into the details, I'd love to understand what's most important to you in this conversation. That single line does so much. It shows you're not here to dominate. You're here to understand, collaborate. And here's the key. First impressions lay the foundation for trust. And in negotiation, trust is what drives deals forward. Mastering the language of negotiation. Now let's unlock the real power of negotiation, language. Because in negotiation, it's not just what you say, it's how you say it that shapes outcomes. Listen, the way you phrase things or open the door to cooperation and progress. Let's take a few common phrases and upgrade them. Instead of this, can you reduce the price? You do. Try, what kind of flexibility do you have on the pricing structure? Well, this shift away from demands and toward collaboration. Instead of, this is my final offer. Try, based on our conversation, here's what I can confidently offer. This feels less like a threat and more like a thoughtful conclusion. For respect, not friction. Instead of, that won't work for me. Try, let me walk you through why that's challenging on our end. This invites dialogue, not deadlock. It turns a no into an explanation, which can lead to creative. Now, these aren't just softer ways of speaking. They're strategic tools. They show empathy. They demonstrate professionalism. And most importantly, they keep the conversation moving forward. Pro negotiators don't push. They frame and reframe, guiding the discussion toward outcomes that work for both sides. And you can do the same, because when you master the language of negotiation, you're not just talking, you're leading, reading the other side. Negotiation isn't just about what you say. It's also about what they're not saying. Great negotiators don't just speak well. They observe, they listen, and they read between the lines, because often information isn't spoken, it's revealed through body language, tone of voice, and moments of silence. Pay close attention to the cues. A pause after you share pricing, a subtle change in tone or eye contact, a folded arm, a sigh. These are all signals, and smart negotiators know how to read them. If someone suddenly gets quiet after you present a number, don't panic. Resist the urge to fill the silence. Instead, ask calmly and gently, how does that sound to you? And let the silence work in your favor. They might be thinking, processing, or about to share a real concern. Another key technique, paraphrasing. Repeat back what they've said to confirm your understanding. For example, so if I understand your biggest concern is delivery time, right? This shows you're listening, really listening. And when people feel heard, they become more open, more trusting, and more willing to collaborate. Reading the other side isn't just about analyzing their behavior. It's about creating a space where you have to be honest, because the more you understand them, the better positioned you are to create a deal that works for both of you. Handling objections like a leader. In any negotiation, you will hear objections. And that's not a sign of failure. It's a natural part of the process. Objections are simply information. They're the beginning of real conversation, not the end of it. You'll hear things like, expensive. We're considering other options. I need to check with my team. Now, how you respond in these moments defines you as a negotiator and as a leader. The key is to stay calm, composed, and curious. Try something like understandable. Let's revisit the value and see where we might align. Or what would need to change for this to feel like a great decision for you? These phrases are powerful. They're not pushy, they're open-ended. They invite dialogue. They build trust. You as someone who wants to solve, not sell. Here's the truth. Most objections aren't really about price. They're about fear, risk, or uncertainty. When you stay grounded and ask the right questions, you'll often uncover the real concern, and once it's on the table, you can deal with it. Think as checkpoints, not roadblocks. And they give you a chance to clarify, realign, and deepen the conversation. Great negotiators don't dodge objections. They welcome them because they know that behind every no is a potential yes. Making the ask, closing the deal. Now, let's talk about one of the most important moments in any negotiation, the ask, the close. This is where too many talented entrepreneurs stumble. They hesitate. They talk in circles for the other person to make the first move. But great negotiators know you have to lead the close. That doesn't mean being pushy. It means being clear, confident, and natural. Try something like, based on everything we've discussed, I believe this. Are you ready to move forward? It's simple, it's direct, and it invites action. Or if you want to sweeten the deal a little, if we can confirm this today, I'll include onboarding support at no extra cost. This adds a small incentive without pressure. Easy to say yes. Remove ambiguity. Be crystal clear about what happens next, whether it's signing a document, scheduling a kickoff call, or processing payment. And here's a golden rule. Always follow up. Send a short professional email, what was discussed, what was agreed, and what the next steps are. This builds trust, prevents misunderstandings, and reinforces your credibility. Closing the deal isn't about pushing. It's about guiding with confidence, making the decision feel easy, natural, and right. When you master the close, you don't just get deals done, you leave the other side feeling good about saying yes. Negotiating by email or text. In today's fast-paced world, a lot of business happens through email, messaging apps, and DMs. And yes, negotiation often happens there too. But here's the challenge. Digital communication lacks as checkpoints, not roadblocks. And they give you a chance to clarify, realign, and deepen the conversation. Great negotiators don't dodge objections. They welcome them because they know that behind every no is a potential yes if you have to follow. 1, greet and appreciate. Start with a thank you. A little courtesy goes a long way. 2, recap the conversation. Briefly summarize what's already been discussed. This shows you're aligned. 3, clearly. No vague language. Be direct, but professional. 4, invite a response. End with a clear next step or a gentle ask. Here's an example. Thanks again for your time today. Based on our discussion, I believe option B aligns well with your. I'd love to move forward this week if that works for you. It's polite, it's focused, and it gives the other person something specific to respond to. But also, keep it concise. Long emails get skipped. Break up your text with short paragraphs and easy to reply. And one last tip. If the conversation gets complex or tension rises, suggest a quick call. Sometimes a 5-minute voice chat can save hours of back and forth. Long-term relationships over one-time wins. The best negotiators aren't just deal makers, they're relationship builders. They understand that success in business isn't just about winning a deal today. It's about earning trust. After the contract is signed, they don't disappear. They follow up. They check in after delivery. They ask, how can we improve? Or how did things go for you? Because real influence, one-time win, it comes from consistency, trust, and reputation. In business, every conversation is a chance to open a door, not just close a deal. One powerful phrase to help turn any negotiation into a relationship is, I really appreciate the opportunity working to making this a success for both of us. That one sentence shows gratitude, professionalism, and long-term thinking. It tells the other side, you're not just here for a sale. You're here to build something that lasts. People won't always remember the exact terms of a deal, how you made them feel. Were you respectful, clear, collaborative? Did you leave the conversation open, positive, and professional? If so, you're doing more than negotiating. You're building your network, your brand, and your future. Negotiate with skill, but always lead with integrity. Because in the long run, it's not about the win, it's about the relationship you leave behind. The best negotiators aren't just deal makers, they're relationship builders. They know that success in business isn't about winning a deal today. It's about earning trust for tomorrow. After the contract is signed, they don't disappear. They follow up, they check in, they ask, how can we improve? Because real influence doesn't come from a single win. It comes from consistency, trust, and reputation. In business, every conversation is a chance to open a door, not just close one. Here's a phrase that turns any deal. I really appreciate the opportunity to work together, and I'm committed to making this a success for both of us. That sentence says it all. Gratitude, professionalism, long-term thinking. It shows you're not here just for a sale. You're here to build something that lasts. Truth. People won't always remember the deal points, but they will remember how you made them feel. Were you respectful, clear, collaborative? Did you leave the conversation positive and professional? If so, doing more than negotiating, you're building your network, your brand, and your future. Okay. So yes, negotiate with skill, but always lead with integrity. Because in the long run, it's not about the win, it's about the relationship you leave behind.